Welcome in, everybody, to the first episode on the new platform of Baxter Street Boys. We're happy to have y'all here. It's going to be an awesome time. We want to shout out Brooks Austin. Thanks for the support along the way, helping us get our feet going. Now he's kicked us out of the nest. We're flying. It's time to roll. We got a lot of stuff to get on to today. Obviously, we're going to talk about camp intel a little bit. Dawgs in the NFL already showing out. We're going to give you a little preview of the big picture in the NCAA too. But as always, this is a dog-focused podcast. Happy y'all are here. While y'all are here, please subscribe to the new channel. We're trying to get off the ground. Need you guys' help. Y'all been great to us in the past. So just go ahead and subscribe to that channel, like the video, and just leave a comment. Even if you don't have anything to say, just say, hey, what's up? Great job, guys. Something. Or y'all suck. Doesn't matter. Leave a comment. Help us out. We appreciate y'all. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on TikTok for all your content. Let's get rolling.
And McAllister down the left field line. Two have come in the paint. Oquendo. Tomahawk. Cable launches one to right field, and he knows it. A grand slam.
We just stepped on their face with a hobnail boot and broke their nose. We just crushed their face.
One, snap, hold, kick. No! Good! No! Good! By the defense, 40, 30, they won't catch him. Go, Swift, into the end zone, touchdown! The freshman just ran it back to Philadelphia. Throws near sideline, and it's intercepted. Intercepted, Keely Ringo at the 21. Off he goes, 40, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, near sideline, breaks the tackle, 20, 15, 10, 5, touchdown, 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 Georgia.
I know I'm asking a lot, you guys, but hunker it down one more time.
I don't know if y'all saw on TV the other day that the 2021 SEC Championship game was on. I just happened to be flipping through, stopped on it for a minute, and legitimately got nervous watching it. Even though I knew it was going to happen. It was early on in the game, and I just got to thinking, this is coming soon. Whether it's the Dawgs, whether it's my bets, something. I'm going to have this feeling soon, and it got me fired up. I don't know about y'all.
I tell you what, I'm like pre-gaming fall right now. Yesterday, I made a big old thing of Brunswick stew and cornbread. Dude, it's like 96 degrees outside. There was just no reason for that. I did freeze a bunch of it, so there's going to be a Saturday when we probably got an away game. Maybe it'll be a little cold outside, and I can thaw that out and make some cornbread. But yeah, I was like, dude, what are you doing? It went crazy though. It was really good, so I was happy about that.
Yeah, dude. Every morning I get up, get my coffee, sit in my car, look outside. And we got a little back porch in my apartment here in Montgomery. And I just think about, man, I can't wait to just go sit out on the porch and drink some coffee. But if I did that here, I might would combust. I don't I've heard people talk about South Alabama heat before and South Mississippi heat before. And I was like, how much different can it be than freaking Chattanooga? It's freaking different. It is the hottest place on earth. It's got to be. It's got to be. It is so.
We got to keep our eyes out for fake fall, though. It happens every year. I need you all to stay vigilant. We're going to get fake fall. We're going to have that one weekend. It's going to be 71 degrees, 68 degrees. Everybody's going, it's finally fall. 90 back to 93 the next week for about 2 or 3 more weeks, and then we'll get actual fall. You got to stay on the lookout. You can't fool me this year. We got to wait on fake fall.
No kidding. All right, so we're on a new page, obviously. Appreciate all you guys being here. For anybody that's new, I don't know how many new followers we got. Let's just give a quick introduction, all three of us. I'll start. I'm Cole Wilcox, one of the hosts. I went to Georgia, played for Georgia, played baseball there. I'm now in the Rays organization. I'm in the Montgomery Biscuits currently. That's why I'm in South Alabama. And I am excited about football, as always. I'm very biased towards Georgia. I'm a fantasy football nerd. And I just love being outside in the fall. So everything that happens before the fall, baseball season, it starts coming down. I'm just riding that wave just to get to fall. That's my season. That's where I thrive.
That's so true too. I don't even think about you kind of get a break from work pretty much too.
Yes.
Not only do you get football, you just completely take time off. But yeah, anyways, I'm Jake. I'm the other host, and I'm the world's worst lawyer. I went to UGA Law. But yeah, no, I mean, all of us, we're all big football fans, but we're not the type of guys. We don't do the UGA football and North Carolina or Duke basketball. We watch UGA basketball too. So, if you're into basketball, baseball, obviously with Cole, we're into all of it. We try to give everybody their shine.
And my name's Griff. I am the producer, and I also went to UGA, room with Cole. We've known each other since the 6th grade. We actually found our friendship through the Dawgs. And, good to be here. I'm the world's most biased Georgia fan on the planet.
Yeah.
I will be throwing out some takes that you've never even thought somebody would say. So just be ready for that. But I am a great gambler, so.
Yeah. So me and Jake are big-time Dawgs fans, and we have bias. But there's, multiple times where our bias can be put aside for, reality. And we can give – we're going to talk about the SEC East here in a minute. And it's going to be, some well-informed takes. Obviously, we don't take ourselves too serious here. It's not going to be like we're breaking down X's and O's and stuff. But, we're able to put it aside. Griff cannot. Griff will not. He cannot.
I won't do it, guys.
There will never be.
We need you to do that, though. Yeah.
Yeah, we need that. Just take it. Like Griff lost our gambling competition last year. We were just talking about this. The punishment is he has to go to a Georgia Tech game in Bobby Dodd Stadium. We're trying to figure out which game to go to and stuff. But I was thinking the reason he lost is probably because of his bets on Georgia. That is probably the reason he lost the game. The whole
I didn't take Georgia that many times.
You kept on taking Georgia first quarter, and I always took it too, and it never hit.
Yeah.
We took it. We all took it that one time versus Mizzou in the closest game
the
ever.
Worst one. Yeah,
dude, I kept doubling down and down and down on that game, and I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, listen, we're the common folk when it comes to gambling. We're going to talk a lot about it, and we are just like you. So join the conversation. We're going to have plenty of live shows here in the season. We encourage you to join the live show. Be in the comments. We'll talk through some bets together because it takes an army to take down Vegas, boys and girls, and it's going to take more than us for sure. But let's get right into things. First off, real quick, NFL preseason is among us, which is always the best because you get intel coming every which way. Everybody's just so excited for football that you'll just say whatever. It's an awesome time on Twitter. But some dogs have been really shut out, and let's just start with the head man, Stetson Bennett. I watched Stetson play his whole life, not his whole life, his whole Georgia life, and even I was shocked with how he looked. I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I don't know how y'all felt, but he's going to start in the NFL. At this point, he's going to start at some point.
Look, I'd love to be able to say I was surprised, Cole, but I just wasn't. Look, I've been in on Stetson. I'm trying to think of the time when I think 2021, after the Michigan game, I became fully bought in on Stetson Bennett. Before that, I was skeptical. I think I was kind of one of those guys that was I think we can win with Stetson Bennett, but I think JT's the better option. After that game, I had no doubts anymore. And then since then, I have been Stetson's number one fan, and I will continue to do so.
Dude, no one will ever forget that Heisman ticket you had about November last year when we were like, oh my God, it's going to hit. This might actually hit. But that Kentucky game sent it down the toilet. But there was a period of time.
12,000 odds.
Yeah. What was it? You were 10 to win something?
10 to win 1,200.
Yeah. So we thought Griff had the golden ticket there for a minute, and that was legendary. It started out as a bit, and then me and Jake the whole time during the summer, Griff, lean into that Stetson Bennett bit. You'll get a ton of interaction, be awesome. And at some point along the way, Griff started believing it. Legit, it was no longer a bit. He legitimately started believing Stetson Bennett was Heisman worthy. And then, midway through the season, it was oh my God.
We got to do some Heisman picks soon because I got some good ones.
Yeah, we do. Maybe next show. We'll have some Heisman for you.
But
I do already have a future on Heisman.
Oh, dude, I got so many futures in. I can't wait to talk to them. I got some spicy conference picks.
Those are the best until it's time to pay the piper.
I'm
never doing this future again.
We got our NC State for this year's boys. It's Texas Tech. We're all Joey McGuire guys.
I was not able to watch Stetson play because I was playing baseball, and I saw some of the highlights. I saw his tutty. I saw some of the balls he threw, and then it was that McAfee clip today where they're talking about Stet, and they're rolling the tape, his highlights, and it just kept going, and he just kept making tight window throws. And I'm like, oh my, this is a 2.5 minute long video. I didn't realize he played that long. I didn't realize he had that many completions. But he looks the part, dude. He's gonna land on his feet. And I think the Rams, they even said that when they drafted him. They're like, listen, everybody talks about how Georgia did this, Georgia did that. Stetson Bennett was just along for the ride. We turn on the tape and we're like, no. Like, they're winning because of this guy. Like, everybody else around the country wanted to deny it, but, like, every football mind will tell you, hey, this guy's good. But then Tennessee and Florida fans will tell you, oh, he just sells insurance. Like,
Hey, we're looking at a reality too, because I was looking at the Rams roster. Like, there's like Brett Ripien and then two other guys I'm not familiar with. Like, if Matthew Stafford gets hurt again, which he has a lot, like, he's gonna be starting this year. It's kind of crazy to think about. Now, obviously, I don't want Matt Stafford to get hurt. You know, he's a great dog, Super Bowl champion, but it's just not out of the realm of possibility. I do think it's extremely entertaining, the mental gymnastics that are going on, though. I couldn't agree with you more, because I don't know what it's going to be after this. I mean, if he's bad in the NFL, I don't know. I don't know.
If he starts an NFL game, then all the haters have lost. Like, it really don't matter how he plays. Like,
they're done. And he
but
will.
Like, you want to spend some more time. Like, if we'd done this show, 7 or 8 years ago, we could literally hit on all the dogs in the NFL that played well. But, like, we're at a new point in football history, where Georgia football history, where we can't, like, there's too many. Like, there's so many Georgia players in the NFL that have just played the last few weeks, or years. We can't possibly hit them all. Some names that come to mind that popped this week: Jalen Carter is Jalen Carter.
Bread man.
Everyone overthought that one. Unbelievable. Andrew Thomas has just been put on stupid highlights during camp. Nolan Smith looked good. James Cook looked good. DeAndre Swift looked good. Like, there's too many guys.
The Rams, too, the O-line played really good. You know who's freaking in the trenches on that O-line? Warren McClendon. He sure was.
I saw that picture after. And Darion Kendrick is a starter for them. Like, he didn't play.
Yeah. He got drafted in, like, the 6th round.
Right. Yeah, there's so many. We're living a good age.
Y'all,
you click on any NFL game and a Georgia player will pop.
Y'all want one of my favorite picks of the offseason? I didn't put very much on this, clearly. George Pickens, NFL Offensive Player of the Year, plus 15,000.
Yeah, he's the.
Like, receivers have been taking those home, because the quarterback's always going to be MVP. Like, Justin Jefferson got it. I don't know.
Dang,
I mean, it's also plus 15,000, so it's one of those where, like, you can't make fun of me for that. Like, you lost your bet.
Actually, you earn respect for putting that in.
Yeah, I mean, I love that. Obviously, it's George.
And he has looked really good,
but he has the platform too, because he's so freaking funny.
He does have freaking Kenny Pickett thrown to him. Is the only problem. If he had an elite quarterback or a semi-elite quarterback, I think it would be awesome.
He's the funniest player in football. Like, I've said that since he was at Georgia. It is must-see TV. Like, there's not many must-see TV players in the NFL. Like, you can just watch their highlights, but, like, you want to watch George Pickens live. It's
that catch that he made last year is so much better than Odell's catch. I mean, he was literally like
unbelievable catch.
That catch was ridiculous, and I think he can have enough moments like that.
Right? Yeah. You just got to get
into a hedge spot.
Get on Twitter highlights. That's how you win awards these days. Yep. All right, let's talk about some camp intel. Stuff's been rolling out on all different platforms. Like, sometimes it's hard to figure out, like, who do you want to listen to? Like, who's telling the truth? Who's biased? All this other stuff. But, like, between the three of us, we get enough intel. We're going to bring you what really matters right here. All right, Jake, what's one thing that you've been hearing that's really stuck out to you?
I don't know. It's Janelle Aguero. I mean, it's all the safeties. Like, that's the main thing. You know, you talk about, losing out on some safety recruits. Full stop, by the way. Let me preface this. If you are new here, I don't really do recruiting. I don't know too much about it. I kind of just see what I see. I know a lot of people like to watch high school tape, and, not my thing personally, especially with the portal, NIL, not my thing. Anyways, I know that there's a big fuss about losing a bunch of safeties. I know they had 3 about a month ago, that they thought they had 3 at least, and now they're down to 0. But I think they're in good hands. That's all I got to say about it.
Yeah, I tweeted out on our account the other day about how they all came and watched Janelle Aguero play and decided to go somewhere else. But it was at this very time last year, like literally this time last year. This is about when we started cranking out the show for the first time. We probably had like 4 episodes up to this point last year. And the intel was just like, this Malachi Starks guy, we can't keep him off the field. Like, he's a freshman, but he's going to play. Like, he's forcing people off the field. That's the same exact thing I'm hearing about Aguero too, Jake. Like, it is the same type of Malachi Starks type stuff where he's just going to come in and take over that star position. And I'm excited for it because, like, we're in a day and age where the secondary is so vital because just offenses are just they're going down a different path. Like I feel like it's going to start coming back. Like as the secondaries get better, it's going to become more balanced again. But like when you play teams like Tennessee, if you can play one-on-one with their receivers, it completely shuts it down. And so having a guy like Aguirre out there is going to be huge for us in the star.
Yeah, apparently Ja'Cory Thomas was playing pretty well.
Yeah.
And I can't remember who I mean, I always forget Tyke Smith is still here.
Yeah.
The COVID year is objectively hilarious for college football, man. I tell you, I knew the COVID year was really having an impact when I turned on my TV. I guess it would have been 2 years ago now. And I saw Anthony Brown taking snaps for Oregon. I could have sworn that dude was at Boston College in like 2015.
Yeah.
But still, I'm happy for him, man. He's a guy who actually could use it to like rebuild his stock because his is mostly an injury. It's not been a performance thing.
Right.
And I think
healthy this year.
Yeah, apparently he's looking really good. I'm excited for the guy. I definitely want to see him get healthy. But yeah, it's the safeties. I know people are freaking about the safeties because of recruiting. I'm not as concerned as maybe the average fan.
Yeah. I've heard that the defensive line is like whipping the offensive line right now. And some people may look at that as a problem. I look at that as a positive because I think there's a lot more question marks on the defensive line this year than the offensive line.
They're definitely.
Like I know what we're going to get out of our offensive line. Like it's a lot of the same folks coming back. Amarius Mims, they're talking like he's like the next Andrew Thomas. Like they can't stop talking about how much of a freak he is. And I agree from what I've seen last year. Like just a plug and play guy like that. When you can come off the bench and play left tackle in the national championship game and do what you did for the semifinal game, like that's impressive. So I'm not worried about that position at all with Broderick Jones leaving. And so, like, we need the defensive line to step up. Jalen Carter, and Nolan Smith. Obviously, we play a lot without Nolan Smith, but Jalen Carter, like, at some point, we're going to do our Mount Rushmore of Georgia players of all time. And in just terms of talent, like, not like recognition and, like, greatest, like, the best players. Like, Jalen Carter is probably one of the best players we've ever had.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And another thing, too, is real quick, Griff, because this is kind of in the same vein. I'm hearing people say things about the quarterbacks too, and I'm like, well, this is the best defense you're going to face all year. So if they don't look that good, I'm not too concerned. That's all I had on that. You got to agree.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to talk about the quarterbacks actually. Like that's one thing that you keep hearing out of camp is like no decision's been made yet. Like it's still a competition, all that. I'm going to be honest. I don't think it's competition still. I think it's Carson Beck's job, and this is just what Kirby does, guys. Like. People haven't caught on to it yet, and these other fans buy into it still, and they're like, oh, Georgia's not set at quarterback. Like, all these guys must stink. It's like, no. Like, the guys at Alabama actually stink. They're actually not good. Like, the guys at Florida, they actually stink. They're actually not good. Like, this is just what Kirby does. Like, we're fine.
It's funny. It's funny because I read a brutal report on Alabama spring practice the other day. Brutal. I heard it was awful. But if you ever want some like real entertainment, and I'm being dead serious, if you're in the Athens area ever, like around practice time, which is 3:30 to 5:30, 3:30 to 6:30, you won't be able to see it. But if you just go hang out, around the practice football field, maybe get up on the parking deck, go to Foley Field, you can hear Kirby on that microphone, and it is pure comedy.
Dude, I walk by there. I go on my jog every day about. Usually around lunch. I hear him out there every day. He's always getting into somebody. It's very funny. I used to last year when I would do it and I'd go on my run. I would just stop. I'd stop running. I'd take out my AirPods. I'd put myself on Snapchat and I would just walk the whole way and just put it on my story for everybody to listen to. It's funny too because it's usually the starters. He's always getting on the starters.
Yeah.
Oh, but I've heard him on Jackson Muschamp, man. He'll get on it.
I've heard him on the one I heard the worst. I'll never forget. Me and Emerson. Shout out Emerson, big league debut. Kids, everybody knows he's the best.
Shout out Biggie.
We don't talk about it that much. He parked his car on the parking deck, and so I was riding with him. We walk up there, and Tyson Campbell just got an absolute stuffing from Kirby, like just verbally abused by Kirby for about 5 minutes, and we heard the whole thing. We were dying laughing. It's tough. Like if you walk by there and knew nothing about the Georgia football program, you would think they're terrible. I mean, this coach is starting from square one.
I mean, that Tennessee fan that came to Athens really thought they were terrible after Kirby was dogging Kelly Ringo in practice before the Tennessee game.
Exactly. Yeah. So Tennessee fans, that checks out. They walk by and they're like, oh, your Dogs are going to suck this year. Kirby's chewing out the whole team. Yeah. Well, that's why you can't get anything out of a Kirby press conference. You can't get anything out of a Georgia practice because I've also heard intel where apparently Ra Thomas is playing with the 4 strings when the media can view, and they go inside and play, and he's running with the first team. Like, apparently he's the most talented receiver they have. So that's another thing too.
We're playing games here. We're playing chess. Everyone else is playing checkers.
Kirby, like he did learn. He learned from the best. He learned from Nick Saban, and he brought it here. And he does his own thing. Like, he's not mini Nick Saban. We've talked about this a lot. He's not, he's not like Brent Venables going to Oklahoma and trying to be mini Dabo, like just a weirdo. No, Kirby's his own guy. The principles he learned, he put in place from Saban, and like he's not going to give you anything, because if he gives you something, you don't think Josh Heupel sees that. You don't think Billy Napier sees that. Like, they're seeing everything we see. So, like, why give that out? And it frustrates people to death. Like, well, why won't he just tell us who's injured and who's not? Well, because if he tells you, hey, Stetson Bennett's injured, Carson Beck's starting, like, okay, now we can have a whole practice plan towards Carson Beck. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, why would you do it? So I love that.
Last thing too. Speaking of injuries as well, the running back room is. I think depth is mainly the main concern. I know Branson Robinson. I think he's had a foot. I think Kendall Milton's had a hamstring. I was really disappointed because I wanted to hear more about Andrew Paul, because he was the talk of the town last spring before he tore his ACL. Kid's built like a brick house. Apparently, he was absolutely showing out. And I mean, playing better than guys.
Brace off though. I think he's starting to get healthy. I think I read that.
Yeah, and I was kind of hoping to hear a little bit more. I mean, not everybody's George Pickens though, where you tear your ACL in the spring and you're back that December pretty much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited for this kid. I think he could be a real difference maker. He could be somebody that comes out of nowhere.
We need it. Yeah, I think that difference maker at running back could be what makes or breaks this offense from being. I think they're going to be really good regardless. But like, I'm talking like number one offense. If you have a game breaker at running back, that does a lot for you. So that's about all I got out of practice. Y'all got anything else? Any thoughts? Concerns?
I think you had one question you wanted to pose to the group here.
Oh yeah. So thank you, Griff. So everybody knows, the Saturday, sometimes Friday, but mostly Saturday scrimmages. They go to Sanford. They put on the jerseys, pop some pads. You can probably see that from the bridge, I guess, if you go over there, if you're in town.
No, you can. Yeah, they play on like the side of it though, where you can't really see.
Yeah, and they got everybody standing there, so you can't see everything.
Yeah,
I mean, that's awesome. But I would like to know, Griff and Jake, you can weigh in. Let's say you're at one of those Saturday scrimmages and you get every carry with the first team offense. Let's say they run 7 drives. How many yards rushing do you think you could get on? This is a scrimmage now. Like, obviously, I know Georgia scrimmages are at a different level. Everybody talks about the physicality of them. It's not a real game, though. How many? Let's say you get 25 carries. How many rushing yards are you getting?
How many? Okay, important question.
I'm gonna start with at least 25. I think I can get 1 yard per carry.
Hey, hold on. This is an important question. Are we counting negative yards?
Yes.
Okay, so if you go backwards, that counts against you.
Yeah, if you get hit in the backfield for the loss of 3 yards, that's going to hurt.
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I got faith in our offensive line. I think they can. I mean, we got the best offensive line in the country. I think they can push me through a little bit.
So you're going a yard to carry. You got yourself a yard to carry.
I'd say at least a yard to carry. I mean, I think maybe I get lucky. Maybe I get lucky and like something happens. But I'm not making it past Jamon Dumas Johnson. I'm probably not getting more than 3 yards.
Well, you're not beating him to the hole either. Is the problem? You have to beat him to the hole to get a yard.
Yeah, that's true, man.
Your lateral movement, I've seen it, Griff. It's not to turn you down here. It's
no, look, I get it. I'm a tremendous basketball player, though. Anybody can catch a bucket if they want.
Let's say, all right, I'm going to put it baseline here. Let's say, okay, you say you do get 1 carry. You're going to get knocked in the backfield at least 3 or 4 times, maybe. Knock off 12.
I would take the over.
I'll say 12. 12 yards on 25 carries. Which, by the way, like if we're talking about a college football defense, it doesn't, that's pretty good.
Yeah, no doubt.
I'm in decent shape, but I'm not obviously.
Plus, yeah, you have to think about like it's not like you're just getting every carry at 100%. Like your first carry, like you're at 100%. Then you're getting absolutely popped. Yeah. Then you're hurting a little bit. You're winded. I would personally set the over under at like probably a double digit, or a single digit, probably like an 8.5, just because like you're gonna get tired. 25 carries in a scrimmage.
25 is a lot.
Very long. it's a lot in a short time period too. Like you're not switching. You're just running first team reps versus first team D. Yeah, I would. It might be the negatives.
If I did get lucky, if somebody misses an assignment, or I just bounce out and get lucky, and somebody crashes down, and I get like 9 yards, and I get 9 yards, and we're going over 8.5. I'm actually taking carries and like sticking the ball out to the offensive line, trying to just stay at 9 to win the bet.
Imagine that.
Imagine if we like had the opportunity to do that somehow. Like they were just like, all right, you can come try.
Griff, I can't begin to describe how much money I would pay to see that.
No,
like if it was like a bid, if it was a bid to win, like come to take carries from Georgia, here's a fundraiser. Like I would get everyone I know to pitch in as much as they can just to see you to go do that.
Dude, the only way I would donate just if I could. I want to stand on the sidelines, like put on khakis and like a collared shirt and a headset. It'd be like my PlayStation headset. I don't even care. Just stand out there and look at like a play sheet. I'll get a menu from Waffle House and just look at it and yell at Griff. I think that would be so much fun.
It'd be awesome. Griff, I wish we could set up with a high school team.
On 20 passes in a scrimmage with the second team, how do you think I'm completing if I'm quarterbacking? None? Not a single one?
Legitimately zero.
I think passes is way harder than rushing yards.
Maybe a screen, though. Like, I can complete a screen.
Now, this question gets really interesting if you talk about, like, okay, Colorado. I think Colorado actually had the worst rush defense in the FBS last year. I think they legitimately gave up like 500 rushing yards a game. I might be getting more than 25 on 20.
I would legit, like, I personally, like, I'm obviously a big human being, but I've always said I could get a yard. I don't care 100%. What the level of football is. Like, I'm talking like 4th and 1. Give me the freaking rock.
We're all over like 6 feet tall. Like, we're all decently sized guys. Like, we're all in shape. Like, I think I could, yeah.
I want the rock. 3rd and 1 national championship game. Everyone knows we're running the ball. I want the rock, and I want a yard. I'm falling for it. I don't care who's hitting me. I'm falling for it. I've always said that, and I'd love to see it. We will never. Yeah. I would say it's a breach of my Rays contract if I could. All right, let's move on. Let's do a little SEC East preview. I think the biggest point to be made about the SEC East this year, just to kick us off, is I think this year is the first year I can remember where every single team outside of Vanderbilt and obviously outside of us believe that they are the second best team. Like everyone believes that. If you ask a South Carolina fan, like, where are you going to finish in the SEC East this year? They would tell you second. Florida somehow believes they're going to.
Yeah.
Tennessee has, like, obviously the right to say they are because they did last year. And Kentucky has been there for the past, 4 out of the 5 years. So
Mizzou, honestly,
right? Missouri fans think they're going.
I was having those same thoughts about Missouri, and I kind of like Missouri to be like a sleeper team for me this year. Their schedule is brutal. That's the only thing with them.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Too. I mean, always.
Yeah. Did y'all see my SEC picks? And people were very upset about them.
I did see those, Jake. I actually liked them.
I put Kentucky at 9-3. I guess I don't know. We can go in order based off. I had Georgia 12-0. I have a brain. All right. So second, I had Kentucky at 9-3 getting second place, just because I kind of think they're going to beat like Tennessee. Like I could see this being y'all know I love Devin Leary. If you watched the show last year, that's really not the main reason. I actually think like Liam Cohen coming back from the Rams. I actually think Kentucky is going to be solid this year. And like you said, there's not really a guaranteed like second place. Like, there's nobody here that's really just going to be like, all right, well, they're definitely second in the pack. I don't think it's Tennessee. Like, I really don't think it is. I know a lot of people have already crowned them. No, I legitimately do not think that. And Agreed. I think their win total is like 7.5 for Kentucky. So this isn't that far above their win total. But yeah. I don't think it's out of bounds to say Kentucky could be second in the East.
Agreed. I mean, like, Missouri is going to have some absolute game breakers at receiver. We'll have to see what they do at quarterback. That's the biggest question. Like, I think that's been Missouri's question for a while now. It's like, their defense hasn't been great. They've had some good weapons. They've really had some good running backs, decent offensive line. But the quarterback, like, how many Missouri quarterbacks can you name since 2018?
Stanzalik, the one that went to Indiana, Brady Cook. Well, they got Jake Garcia now. Shout out Matty Mock. Yeah, that wasn't 2018.
That was way before 2018.
You were saying since 2018. I was just thinking.
Not counting Drew Lock. Like, Like after Drew Lock, it's just been kind of a cesspool of like who, you know.
It's all the same, like one brown haired white guy.
Before Matty Mock.
James Franklin.
Yeah.
Is it James Franklin?
Okay. I think it is. I think that was
it was definitely something Franklin. I don't know if it was James.
He was at the Banning camp that I went to, the one that Johnny Manziel left. Fun fact: I was in the Johnny Manziel documentary, and he told us a list of. The only reason I remember this guy, he was there. He was a coach, and he listed off the injuries he's had since he's been at Missouri, and it took like 5 minutes. Like this dude got absolutely torn to shreds. So shout out! It was Franklin. It was something Franklin.
Yeah, it was. I think it is James Franklin. I think he just has the same name as the coach. Right. The problem is with Mizzou is they actually kind of have a brutal schedule. They got to play Kansas State. They play Memphis, who I actually think Memphis is going to be pretty solid this year. They have LSU out of the
thing about
they have LSU out of the
West.
Though,
yeah, but they get those games at home. They get LSU at home. They get Kansas State at home. Like if they can win,
I don't think they could play Kansas State anywhere. I don't think they're beating Kansas State. Personally.
Well, that's fine though, but that doesn't matter anything in the SEC. So if they could somehow just like sneak, like LSU's gonna be really, really good.
They got Tennessee at home, and they got to beat Arkansas in Arkansas. I think that's
that's it. That's what they gotta do.
I would love to say South Carolina, but I think they might be one of the worst. Like, dude, they lost so many playmakers that I can't. Like, I know
South Carolina fans irritate me to no end, man. These guys, their Vegas win total is 5.5. I project them at 6 wins. In case you're not a mathematician, that's over their projection. Like, I'm giving you a compliment here, and they're all like, "No, man, you're wrong. You don't get it. You're on drugs." Like, okay, that's crazy because I projected you to win. I think it was 7 games last year. How many did you win? You beat Clemson and Tennessee last year to get over your win total, and that was an absolute miracle. That is not going to happen again. And I don't even it's just so annoying to me. They just get so wound up over that stuff. Like they're like, disrespect South Carolina. You guys are like, come on, let's be serious now.
So I think where I stand here, just I'll just run through the teams real quick. I'm very low on South Carolina. I think it's going to be Georgia. I'll start at the top. Georgia at the top, then go to the bottom. From bottom up, it's going to be Vandy, South Carolina, unfortunately, Missouri. And here's where I'm a little bit higher than the consensus. I think Florida's going to be slightly better than a lot of people think. Listen, you got to get rid of Mullen's players. They're terrible. Like, that culture was awful. They're doing that. Napiers recruiting pretty well, and I like the guy a lot. Like, I think he's a good coach. I think he's a good person. It's just going to be whether Florida fans give him time because they're not good people. So,
and their schedule next year is
brutal.
I truly, and I'm going to tell you the game. I'm going to hold my next 3 because our next segment is what is the biggest game in the SEC East. I'm going to hold it there. But I'm with you, Jake. I think Kentucky is second. I think that's
all right. I'll list mine off, and I want to talk about Florida for a second, Griff, and then I'm going to kick it to you.
Let's do it. Yeah, go
So
for it.
Georgia, Kentucky at second, Tennessee at 8-4, Mizzou, South Carolina, Florida, all at 6-6, whatever order that ends up being. I don't really care. And then Vandy last. Florida's schedule for me is so weird because I'm kind of really high on them early in the season. Like I said, I got them at 6-6. I have them winning in Utah. I think they actually are going to beat Utah without Cam Rising. I have them beating McNeese State. I have them beating Tennessee at home. And then they beat Charlotte. And then I have them losing to Kentucky, beating Florida. And then they lose to South Carolina, Georgia, LSU, Missouri, Florida State, and then they beat Arkansas at home. Like, that's like, they're just like the last half of their schedule, I think, is just going to beat them to death.
Yeah, agreed. Griff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of in agreement with y'all on Florida, but also I think this season could absolutely be awful for them. They could get out of this season winning like 3 games.
Their win total is 5.5.
They could, yeah. I mean, you're right. They definitely could.
But I think the way I would have it would obviously be Georgia number 1. I'll go top to bottom. Georgia number 1. I think Kentucky number 2. Honestly, I legitimately this is probably just my hate for Tennessee a little bit. I think Missouri number 3. And then Tennessee 4, and then South Carolina 5, Florida 6, Vanderbilt 7.
So we can move right to the next part, the biggest game, and I'll just kick it off because it kind of flows right into this. Biggest game in the SEC East. This time last year, I don't want to beat my chest too much, but if you listen to this podcast, I told you that the biggest game in the SEC East would be in Columbia, South Carolina, late in the year when Tennessee goes in there. That might have been the biggest game in college football, last year because that just completely knocked Tennessee out of the playoff picture. They had a free ride to it, really, because they didn't have to play the SEC championship because we absolutely tore them up. And they were just going to walk in, and then we were going to play them again. And then they go get housed by South Carolina. What I was wrong about, though, is I thought if South Carolina won that game that their recruiting would just take off. Like if they win that game with everybody there, with everyone watching, like I knew Tennessee was going to be decent that year. I didn't know how good they were going to be. And then South Carolina can win that game. Like I thought that's what Beamer would need to just take it to a new level. And he has recruited pretty well, but then he goes and loses Stogner and he loses Jaheim Bell. It's like, how? I mean, why are those guys leaving? So that's just to beat my own chest. I was right last year. This year I'm going to be right again. The biggest game in the SEC East is going to come early. It's one of the best rivalries in sports. It's one of my favorite non-Georgia games, really. Tennessee's going to the Swamp. And here's why I'm higher on Florida than most is because I think they're going to win week 1 against Utah. I think Cam Rising is beat up. I love the guy. If he's fully healthy, I don't touch Florida here. They lost Dalton Kincaid. It's going to be just one of those gritty, grimy games like it was last year where Anthony Richardson looks the part because it's just nobody's scoring points, so they finally do it. It's like, oh, wow. And I like Florida there because they have talent up front. They always have talent up front. They're going to be bigger than Utah. And if Cam Rising's beat up at all, they're going to sack him like a lot. And if they win that game, the momentum train is just going to be rolling. They're going to roll right into that. They're going to get a Tennessee team who's trying to find their identity with Joe Milton. He's not very good. If Florida wins that game, like they're going to have wins against Utah and Tennessee to start the year. That's going to propel them the rest of the season, and they're going to finish third in the SEC behind them.
I think, I kind of think in the same vein. At least we're talking about a battle for second place, kind of similar to last year. I think Tennessee going to Kentucky week 9 because if I'm not mistaken, I think Tennessee kind of pulled the pants off Kentucky last year.
They did,
if I remember that correctly.
They did,
and Kentucky's kind of a sneaky, tough-ish place to play. So I think that'll be a big one for them too. That'll kind of decide second place. Like I said, it got 9-3, 8-4. So for me, that technically is deciding second place. I did want to say something too about mine. I kind of brushed over them. I do think Vandy's kind of headed in the right direction. Now,
agreed.
The right direction for them is a bowl game.
I mean, they could sneak a win this year and really screw somebody over.
I just
beat Florida last year.
Yeah, I just wasn't going to pick it, but I definitely think they could win a game. They can beat, they can beat somebody, and maybe even two teams get bowl eligible. I think they'll win all 4 of their out of conference. I think they'll beat Wake Forest. I got them over 3.5 wins. Favorite bet every year. We'll talk about that later. Kentucky over 3.5 wins. If it hits in September, but
love it.
Yeah, I think Clark Lee's got him headed in the right direction. I like AJ Swan. They definitely feel like they have some direction.
Agreed. I like AJ Swan.
I like AJ Swan too.
We just never talk about Vanderbilt, and we always throw them at last. I kind of feel a little bad for them, so I figured I think they'll be all right eventually.
I want them out of the SEC, but yeah, they are heading in the right direction.
Well, see, it's funny. We got to keep them in the SEC because since we have a private school, that means that we cannot, we don't have to submit to Freedom of Information Act requests. Since it's not all public schools.
I did not know this.
So we need Vanderbilt. No more taking Vandy out.
There it is.
Good point, Jake. That's how quick my mind could be turned right there.
Exactly.
So far we have Florida or Tennessee at Florida in the Swamp, and then we have Kentucky. You said Tennessee goes to Kentucky this year. Week 9.
Yeah, that's week 9.
No, I'm pretty sure Kentucky goes to Tennessee, right?
No, they did last
I'm
year.
looking at it right
Will
now.
Levis went in. Will Levis went into Tennessee, and he was awful. No, because the year before was the only game that Will Levis threw for over 300 yards against an SEC team.
That's right. That's right.
Tennessee.
Yeah, that is a big one.
Wandale Robinson, they hit like a freaking 4th and 25. Wandale Robinson up the sideline. It was the most.
That's a pretty good argument for a big one, just because it is late in the season.
It's
Kroger
like
Field,
South Carolina.
Kroger.
I think there's 2 games for me that I think could be big. Dude, I just keep thinking about Missouri, and I think the Missouri-Kentucky game, middle of the year, could be huge, because I think that it's going to – obviously, I think those 2 teams are going to be 2 and 3. But if Missouri can somehow get into that game with only 1 loss, like beat Kansas State or LSU, which is unlikely, I think that makes that game so much bigger. But even if they come in there with 2 losses, it still has a lot. They still have a lot to play for. Georgia does play Kentucky the week before. They get it probably after a hard-fought week, a down week, and then but Kentucky gets them at home. I mean,
Missouri, man,
I think that one could be huge.
But I also these games up, man.
I also think Tennessee, Missouri could be huge. Tennessee's got to go to Missouri. If they both, if Tennessee has a decent record, they could play spoiler kind of the same way that South Carolina did last year.
Yeah.
And if they win that game before Tennessee goes or plays Georgia at home, I don't know.
I would
y'all want a fun. This is so random. This is off topic. Y'all want a fun? We talk about look ahead spots. I think Maryland can potentially be 6-1. They're going to host Penn State in between. I think Penn State, Ohio State, and Penn State, Michigan.
I've
already got that one circled. I do too. I do too. I like Maryland this year. That's why I wanted to bring them up.
You were off that podcast when we talked about the Big Ten, but yeah, Maryland was the play. So we're all in on Maryland. This whole is a Maryland podcast. But I would love to say that Georgia Tennessee will be the biggest game in the SEC East, like everyone in the country thinks it is. Because last year it was fun. It was legitimately fun. We had a great time on this pod. We interacted with a lot of Tennessee fans. And when you're in a battle with a Tennessee fan, you're going to win. So you look great. The issue is they're going to have at least three losses.
They're going to have 3 losses.
Like they're going to lose to Florida, they're going to lose to Bama, and they're going to lose to A&M at home. So
or Kentucky.
Right.
They might have 4 losses.
They're going to
or Missouri.
progress.
They play Missouri for us too at Missouri.
Yeah. I would love to say it is. It's not. It's not going to be that. To all Tennessee fans who think Joe Milton, who's been benched twice, is just going to step in and be the Heisman winning quarterback. He's not going to be starting by the time Georgia plays him. So we're not going to see Joe Milton ever again.
I hope we do.
Yeah, we won't. We won't obviously in him.
Are we doing to do a short playoff preview? Wrap it up.
Yeah, well, we got one more thing on this on the SEC's part.
I forgot about this.
So, we just rank teams based off their play on the field. Now we need to rank teams in how likely you are to beat the coach in a fight. So I guess the rankings we would do would be number 1 being the least likely you want to fight, and then go down.
I think we should do it the other way. I think we should start the number 1 is
most
the one
likely you
most likely could.
Okay. All right,
but so let's start at the bottom.
Missouri in there.
No, yeah, I was gonna say Missouri is definitely Eli Drinkowitz. I'm beating the.
Did you see that video of Eli Drinkowitz when they got that recruit? He was like, "Oh my gosh, mega goober, Hall of Fame goober look."
He is a Hall of Fame goober look. Like I loved when he trolled Dan Mullen. Like it was all funny and stuff. But the dude says some things, and then he says some things where I'm like, I really like this guy. Like in reference to the conference realignment stuff. But then he's just too good. He's so goofy and just the look, the baby face, like. Yeah, I would pulverize him.
This is going to be I know I think I have my number 1, and it might be a little surprising to you guys.
That you could fight? That you could beat the fight?
No, I would say that I don't want to. I think next we got to I feel bad picking the old guys, but Lane Kiffin's got to be up there. Come on.
Well, it's just SECs. Just SECs.
Yeah, just SECs.
Okay. Yeah, so we can start at the bottom, Griff. The guy at least like to fight. Jake, we might be on the same
Clark Lee. It's Clark Lee. Clark Lee. I'm sorry, dude. Clark Lee is massive.
You think Clark Lee over Billy Napier? I think maybe Billy.
Napier was my second. Napier was my 2. But
I think Clark those Lee, 2 guys are definitely – I think they're definitely –
Listen, look at all the coaches that coached for Vanderbilt in the past. Like, you have to be a little bit crazy to take that job. Like Derek Mason, I do not want to mess with. James Franklin, I don't really want to mess with. Like those guys have a little bit of crazy in them that makes them take the Vanderbilt
and he's
job.
bald.
Clark Lee is an intense dude. Like he looks like a Navy
He's definitely in there with the team, like maxing out on.
Right.
Look at him. He's huge.
Yeah. No, you really
he's
don't
number
want
1. I don't want any part of Clark Lee.
Clark that's Lee, fair.
Yeah.
And then
we know
about them North Georgia boys. They got hands like Billy Nape. I got Billy Nape slotted in right behind Clark Lee.
It's funny because after Kirby, after that, the rest of them lunch meat. Shane Beamer, lunch meat. Josh Heupel,
I don't know.
Lunch
Shane
meat.
Beamer,
Mark Stoops, lunch meat.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
All right, so
lunch meat. Dude.
You go. Clark Lee, Billy Napier. 5, the least likely. We'll go Kirby. I think.
Agreed.
Right?
Yeah.
Kirby, and then I think Beamer.
I would put Beamer. Yeah, definitely.
Just
I
because
still but
I might take Stoops, dude.
Just because he's young. Stoops is just too old, man.
How big is Beamer?
How old
Let me
is
look up how big Beamer is. You look up how old Stoops is.
I mean,
Stoops is
Shane
56.
Beamer's in
Oh,
shape.
Stoops is from Youngstown, Ohio, though. That's
exactly.
Beamer's
he's
in
intense.
shape though.
Yeah, but Beamer talks a lot. Guys that talk a lot. He's 5'8", Griff.
Oh, you might be right.
Shane Beamer's 5'8".
lunch meat.
Yeah, maybe Mark Stoops. Maybe Mark Stoops before Beamer then.
Yeah, Clark Lee, Nate, Kirby, Mark Stoops, and then who we say?
Beamer, Heupel, and Drinkowitz.
Beamer. Yeah.
Heupel's definitely second.
What's your strategy going to fight Josh Heupel? Because he is like
just
wear him
run
out.
Just run for a little bit.
Like, yeah,
kick him in the nuts and run around for a little bit till he gets tired.
You move around at all, he's boned.
Yeah, and he used to be a good athlete too, which is crazy.
Yeah, no, he's a quarterback.
He finished second in Heisman voting in 2000, right?
I always finished it in second. He was just preparing for life.
born to play at Tennessee. All right, yeah. So that's that last segment there, and then you want to hold the playoff preview? You want to end it right there? I thought that's a good ending.
Yeah, we can wait on that. We'll do some Heisman picks and some other stuff next week.
That's a good ending point right there. I mean, we're not going to talk that segment. Right. Yeah, Griff, you're right. I should have done this in the middle of the show. Everyone, please subscribe to the new channel. It's going to help us out a lot. We're going to be able to do a lot better things if you guys will subscribe. Like the video, too. That helps out a lot. And even comment on it. Listen, we appreciate you guys. Your Twitter following is awesome. I love getting on Twitter every day just to see you guys in the comments saying stuff, going at people. It's great. We want to create that environment here on YouTube as well. Help us out doing that. Subscribe to the show. Everybody have a good week. Football's right around the corner. Just do that. When you're sitting at work, when you're doing things you don't want to do, just know the weather's about to turn. Pads are about to pop. Just keep that in the back of your mind, and everything's
the bets
all right.
are about to be.
You'll be placing parlays on a company dime in no time.
Wow. Yeah.
Soon you're gonna be waking up on Saturday morning. You're already gonna have some locks in, and you're just gonna be like,
you're at about 7 right before 12.
Man, I got to take the whole board. I can't help it.
Yeah. Welcome. We're all the same. We all bleed red. Everybody have a good week. Go Dogs.